afternoon, everybody. My name's Darren Crawley. I'm the Channel Account Manager for Cloud4Partners here at Ascari. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, which is focusing on the digital transformation for businesses, and more importantly, how both cloud technologies and specifically Cloud4Partners can help your customers to make that transition into a genuine digital business. There's just a few housekeeping rules for today. The webinar itself should last between 20 to 30 minutes. There'll be a brief presentation by myself for approximately 20 minutes. And during that time, all delegates will be on mute. However, you may have noticed on the GoToWebinar toolbar that you're using that there is a chat function. So if there are any questions that come to mind during the course of the 20-minute or so presentation, please type in those questions using the chat function, and we'll spend the final 5 to 10 minutes going through any questions that partners have. I just want to set the scene with regards to the presentation today. The slide deck we will go through may look a little bit familiar to some of our SAP partners and resellers, and that's because it's part of a much larger presentation by SAP on business and digital transformation. However, our focus today will be specifically on where the cloud element fits in, and more importantly, we want to give you, as a partner of Cloud4Partners, more insight into how we can help you to communicate the benefits of this transformation, this digital transformation through the cloud to your end customers. So what's happening now? Well, put simply, we're in a process of quite radical change, both as on a global basis, but also if we're looking at specific organizations that we work within, and even within our own personal lives. And it's very much a disruptive environment. So we're seeing this process of transformation. And as I've already mentioned, the world is changing, technology is changing. And so business must also change in order to adapt, to survive, and also ultimately to grow. So we're looking at how cloud-based software and services are actually disrupting the traditional models of business here. And this is the new environment in which business now is looking to thrive. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, if we look at these four components, when we're looking at business enablers, analytics, big data, mobile technologies, but more specifically the cloud, we want to see how these can actually enable your customers to actually change and adapt and thrive in the new business environment. Now, cloud is just one piece of the jigsaw, but it's fair to say, if we're looking at the overall picture, it's certainly the cornerstone of the overall process of transition. On-premise solutions cannot and will not fit into the model that we see before us now. So let's take a closer look at cloud technologies. Well, firstly, I think we need to recognize that cloud is no longer a binary choice. And when I say that, historically, when we've looked at what has been presented as SAP Business One in the cloud, it's usually built on two pillars that provide a very distinct fork in the road for end customers. Firstly, does the customer look at a hosted solution purely within the SAP Business One environment that's hosted by SAP? Well, that's fine. We are all familiar with the SAP Cloud Control Center, but we are aware, certainly as providers of solutions to business, that that comes with certain limited functionality and capabilities. So the other option, or the other fork in the road, has been looking at a hosted Business One solution through the partner. But again, we have to ask the question, this is this really a true cloud proposition? More often than not, what we actually see is a little bit of smoke and mirrors, where you've got a hosted Business One system by the partner, but it's actually on-premise elsewhere. It's not true cloud. So here at Cloud4Partners, we've developed a completely new architecture over the last 6 years that does provide a true cloud experience, both for the end customer, but also that's recognizable by the partner that manages that customer. And how is it recognizable? Well, it's genuinely pay as you consume. It's quick to deploy and quick to change. It's flexible. You can jump off and you can jump on at any time. So I guess we need to open up a wider debate and a new debate about what cloud technologies really are and what they can do. And if I wanted to give a personal example, going back to the model we saw earlier, if you have lived or worked in the UK or even visited the UK, the mobile network and the mobile industry has changed radically over the past 10 years. And a good example is if you look at a company called giffgaff. If you like to go onto their website, you can see how they've disrupted that marketplace by offering a genuine pay-as-you-consume solution that is viewed very much as a community of users rather than a simple provider of telecommunication services. So if we're looking at Cloud4Partners, the model and the ethos is very much along similar lines. So how do you work with us and why do you want to work with us? Well, if we're looking at Cloud4Partners and you, the partner, what we're looking at ultimately is managing those businesses through that transition. And that transition needs to be undertaken because it does offer genuine business benefits. If we're looking at the main benefits, of course, businesses want to gain competitive advantage. They want access to their information more quickly and more readily. Of course, everybody wants to have the belief that what they're using in the cloud is a true cloud technology that provides them with genuine pay as you consume and flexible approach to that technology, so that it's easily and affordable in terms of deployment. And ultimately, businesses also want to make the right decisions at the right time, and any system or any software that's provided to an end customer needs to focus on that. I've circled the final point though, connecting business functions, because again, that's at the heart of what SAP Business One does. But there's so much more that you can connect and integrate with using the cloud as the vehicle, the primary vehicle for that enablement. So if we're looking, for instance, at connecting business functions, we work with all sorts of partners. I can give 3 examples readily off the top of my head. Progenex, warehouse management software, where there's no integration provided outside of Business One. We have Sana for e-commerce and Boyum for a wide variety of different applications. And with the latter, we don't even need to have an alteration in the Business One code. We can actually have a connecting third-party application into V1. And as a result of applications like Progenex, Sana, Boyum, and many, many more, what we actually see there is the ability to have an easy-to-implement, inexpensive total solution for end customers. And we're adding more and more of these type of applications, working with a growing list of partners, some of whom are on the call today, so that more and more choice and more options and more functionality are available to end customers. But ultimately, it's very much a layered approach to the technology that's available out there. And what we want to do is enable this full multi-tiered approach to be presented to the customers through our partners in a very simple and very easy to digest message, so that those customers can actually get onto the digital transformation path sooner, quicker and easier. So what I would like to do is see if we can actually visit any of the questions that may have come to mind during the course of the presentation. Right, forgive me. I understand there may be a problem with actually seeing these slides. So I'm actually going to go back and actually show you the slideshow again. Apologies for that. That's not a problem. I think there may be a technical issue at our end. So what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm actually going to share the screen and just run through those slides now. Okay, I'm hoping that everybody can actually see the screen now. So obviously I won't go through the audio again in as much detail, but like I said, it was really just a case of setting the scene there in terms of this digital transformation path. So what we want to do is actually look at the wider picture. I referred to very early on in the presentation how we've got changes taking place at the global level, within organizations, and on a personal level as well. And if we're looking at the business transformation piece, we can actually see that the world is changing, business is changing, and really it's down to cloud-based software and services to respond to those changes, because there is disruption taking place in the business environment, and businesses need to become intelligent, businesses need to have more of a digital focus. And as I mentioned earlier, analytics, big data and mobile technologies are all part of that disruptive environment, but it's fair to say that cloud technologies is very much the center point of that process of change as well. So let's focus on where in digitization and the path that many of your customers are going. Let's focus on where cloud technologies actually fits in. And like I say, it's very much at the cornerstone of that change. And if we're looking specifically at cloud, we can actually see there's been a shift away from a binary choice between hosted SAP Business One in a very limited sense through Cloud Control Center, and also moving away from the on-premise hosted by the partner option, and more a merger of the two areas of benefits you see there into a single solution that's unique through Cloud4Partners today. And this opens up the wider debate about what cloud technologies are, and more importantly, what benefits they offer the customer. So again, if we're looking at why we're looking at working with our partners to help end customers, it's all about delivering those key benefits that are essential to persuade them to go down the path of transition, gaining competitive advantage, real-time access to information, true cloud technology, ease of deployment, and being able to afford the technology that will help them transform their business and become 21st century business models. Making decisions at the right time is always important, but connectivity of business functions, again, is at the corner post of everything that we do, both as a community of B1 partners and also within Cloud4Partners when it comes to creating a multi-layered approach to delivering cloud technologies and the benefits of those cloud technologies. So again, I'll go to the questions piece. And I just want to confirm, I've had some feedback that some of you can't receive any sound. I hope that's actually just been an intermittent problem, or maybe just a problem that some people have actually experienced. That's fine. Thank you, Lindsay. So apologies for the slight hiccup regarding the initial slideshow. I will ensure that both the slideshow itself and a recording of the webinar are made available to you after today's session. Whilst I'm actually viewing the questions that are available to us now, it's really now an open forum. If any of you do have any immediate questions, obviously I'm happy to address those now. If there's any more detailed questions that you wish to discuss with me on a one-to-one basis, you're certainly welcome to do so. You can give me a call or possibly drop me an email directly to darren.crawley@ascari.com. And I'm also frequently posting information and updates for our partners on LinkedIn. So feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. The sessions are a regular occurrence now. So we had our first partner webinar at the end of May. This is the second in a series of webinars that will carry on throughout the year. What I would suggest is keep an eye out for any postings on future subjects and future demonstrations. Not only will we be discussing what Cloud4Partners are doing, but we'll also be showcasing what some of our partners can actually do in terms of the integration into B1 via C4P. And we'd also welcome any input from partners and resellers in terms of any future subjects for our webinar. We'd like to keep them short and punchy, just for 20 minutes or so, with a 5-10 minute Q&A afterwards. But if you do feel there's anything else you'd like to contribute, please do feel free to email either myself or indeed any of the members of the Ascari and C4P team that you speak with. I'd like to take this opportunity just to thank you once again for attending today's session. If you do have any further thoughts or questions afterwards, it'd be great to catch up with you after the webinar. Enjoy the fine weather if you're in the UK, and I look forward to speaking with you and meeting with you again at next month's webinar. Thank you very much. Have a great day.